Hello again, everyone. My name is James Shotwell. This is the Music Biz channel, and I'm about to share with you an incredible conversation that I had with the one and only Racquel Jones just last week. Now, Racquel's brand new album, Ignorant, and I mean that with the emphasis on the rant, hits this Friday, April 24th. And if you're unfamiliar, she's a rapper, painter, singer, songwriter. She does it all, and she does it incredibly well. Now, you're watching the video version of this conversation, so you're going to get to see some of her paintings, you're going to get to see a great conversation, and I think you're going to learn something along the way. Now, before we get there, I want to tell you that this show and every episode of it is also available on Spotify. So if you click the link down in the description below, you can subscribe, or of course, you could just subscribe to Music Biz, where we post every show as a video interview. Now, I really think you're gonna love this, and if you get a chance, check out Racquel's recent video for the single Queen. I absolutely love it, and I think you will as well. But that's really all I have to share right now, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with the incredible Racquel Jones. Hi, thank you for taking the time out of your Friday to talk to me. I actually had to look at the calendar because this week has just been a tornado.
Oh my God. So you're so busy that you didn't remember you had an interview with me? Okay, bye.
Know.
I gotta go.
Tell me how your week has been.
Weird. So I'm back in the studio for the first time in a long time. And when I'm recording, like the producers, everybody, we stay together. We sleep there, we eat there. It started off slow at first because I haven't written in a minute, and now I'm writing about like awfully personal things. So there's that. There's a crippling anxiety because I just released a single and I have my record coming out. So I've been like fucking suffocating with anxiety. What else was happening this week? Oh, me and my manager and my label, we love each other to death, but because of my anxiety, like I am not great with interviews, especially getting on camera. So we had some fights about that. I love you, Brian. I love you guys. So that's how my week has been. Mostly anxiety though.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, it's good to hear that you're back in the studio.
Thank you.
The song that I'm probably most familiar with is your recent single Queen, which you just touched on a little bit and I want to talk about, but let's stay on the new stuff. So you're in the studio, you're writing about personal stuff, always a challenge, always feels good.
Yes.
Tell me the thing. What are we getting in? What are we digging into in the studio right now? What are the stories you're trying to tell?
So so I feel like as artists, our responsibility is to create whatever comes true to us. We're a reflection of what we feel and what's around us, and the things that are palpable and people have an issue to express them. We're that medium, you know, that we're kind of like that conduit in a sense. But now I'm channeling my own pain. So I am not necessarily great with being vulnerable. I've had my heart broken. I've been hurt by friends. I've gone through these traumatic and hurtful things, and I'm trying to use my art to address it and to get it out. So it's kind of catharsis, that word that I struggle to say, cathartic in a sense. And don't laugh at me.
I'm not laughing.
And so it's kind of like that. Like I have shied away from publicly putting these things in my art for a while, because I feel like who the fuck wants to hear about your personal shit anyway? And why would I want to immortalize somebody breaking my heart that I'm going to get over anyway? But you know what I mean? Like I'm getting comfortable with being vulnerable. I'm getting comfortable with just getting it out, and I'm getting comfortable with the idea that my art is a gift for me first. It heals me first, and then I can heal other people. So that's what I've been doing.
I think that it's important to kind of give both sides. Queen is a song that is like so big and so full of life and so like I'm the shit. That I think it's important to be like, you can be all of those things and also, have some stuff you got to work out still.
Yeah.
I feel like too much pop music in general, and really just all music, it always focuses on like one extreme or the other. It's either like I'm so sad it's never going to get better, or I'm so awesome that like you can't even
Yeah.
fathom how cool I am.
Yeah.
But I think what people like, and those songs are great for what they do, but the artists that actually go somewhere and last kind of give us a little bit of all of that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you know what it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like when they're on top of the world, but you also understand that like they have demons. And that's how
Yeah.
we all are. So, kudos to you.
Thank you. I mean, I applaud any artist who's brave enough to reveal every aspect of themselves and being true to that. It's not easy. It's one thing to hurt or to fall apart by yourself or with your close friends, but when you're willing to open up a space to everybody to do that with, it's kind of scary, but the healing and the feeling of it is magical too. So I applaud anybody who's brave enough to go there.
I've always found like if you can find the strength to open up in that way, somebody will tell you something that makes whatever you think is this like impossible mountain to climb seem so small in comparison. And then you'll just be like, oh, okay, like it's a good reality check because it's like you ever
Yeah.
talk to people who've gotten sober and you're like, well, I used to drink till I couldn't remember things, and then they'll tell you a story that's like I lost everything, and you're like, oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, all right, maybe I can get through this thing.
I think I don't have it so bad after all. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. But let's talk about Queen because people can go and watch the video right now. It's super fun. I love a simple video that's just like performing, and
Yeah.
there are these moments in the video where you can like there's a lot of stuff that's like clearly they were like and action, and then you're performing, giving us everything. But then there's this one shot of like the crown falling off your head, and you're laughing, and it's so genuine that I was like, that's my favorite part of this whole thing.
Oh my God, it's so crazy. So many people love that part of the video, and everybody's like, that's my favorite part. I almost took it out when I first saw it because I was so clumsy on set. Um, I was having a really bad day with my anxiety that day. So I smoked weed, I drank coffee, which I'm not supposed to because I have sleeping problems, but that's another story. I took edibles and then I drank some wine. So all these things were clashing at the same time. So I kept fucking up. And we're doing that performance scene and I bumped my crown and I started laughing. When I saw the edit, I was like, I'm a queen. My crown isn't supposed to fall off. I'm going to take that out. But it was funny to me, so I decided to keep it. And it's amazing that a lot of people like that part because it was just so natural and organic.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not that far removed from like the idea of giving, the highs and the lows of what's happening in your life,
Yeah,
because
you're
it's
right.
like, yeah, it's the same idea of like, you're a human just like us.
Mm-hmm.
And you are, I can confirm, you're not a robot. You're here. You're real. Um,
Yeah, I'm very real.
yes. And you have more of your authentic self coming through on your new album,
Oh,
which
they
we're
gonna get this work. They gonna get all of me, the
I
real
love
me.
it. Let's talk about it. Now, I know the title is ignorant, but the way that it's capitalized,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to say ignorant. Is
Yeah,
that okay? Ignorant is coming out on April 20th.
yeah.
So by the time people will be able to see and hear this before that happens, but not too long before. So tell me, Queen is probably a good example of some of what's on this record, but I've read the beautiful quote that all of your press releases have you saying about the album. In your own words now, can you just kind of give people, tell them what this record's about? Because I think it's really great.
Okay, so I feel like one of the things that separates us from each other as human beings is the fact that we face these type of judgment that create this division and this disparity amongst us, and a lot of that is fueled by stereotypes. So how about we talk about it and let's address it in a very head-on way, so you have one set of people who are ranting about injustice and being judged and being objectified, and then another people over here are being defensive about it, and then people are like, oh, you're overreacting. Let's have that conversation. So this is what the album is. It's like forcing us to talk about it. So it's a rant about ignorance. So we're basically all ignorant of something as it relates to each other, you know what I mean? how else are we going to know and find some sort of common ground and have some empathy and love each other if we don't facilitate understanding? And I think doing that, we have to start conversations. So this is what this record does. It's like it's provoking these conversations, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the number of conversations that you're attempting. What I love about it is that it's not a singular vision where it's like 11 songs about the same topic.
Oh no.
You're taking us all. We're talking about a lot of things.
Yeah, we're talking about, so we have a track on it, which was on a single, Sacrilege. It's talking about the damages of like religion, specifically Christianity. You have a song on the record called Anger. The people were angry. Instead of judging them, how about give them a space to rant so we can understand why they're angry? Let's understand why Black women are angry, for example. Let's let them get it out and let us talk about it. We have songs like Daddy Issues, which is about not having daddy issues, but a woman who's sexually liberated, and if she wanna fuck, she gonna fuck. But society put these labels on her, and you must have got some sort of issues. You must got daddy issues, or what happened to you? You know, maybe nothing is wrong with her, and it's okay for her to be like that instead of slut shaming her. We have songs like Manic that talks about mental illnesses and the stereotypes surrounding that. Jungle, which is about darker skinned women being fetishes. You know, what else can I remember? Hurt. You know, oftentimes we're hurt in relationships and we don't get the space to say we're hurt because we fear being called emotional, or you don't want to seem too weak. Well, motherfucker, you hurt me, and this is the reason why. This is how you did it. You know what I mean? We have songs like Heartless that talks about the judgment like Black men face. For example, in a situation with the police, like who exactly is heartless here? Is it I'm perceived as this because of my appearance and I'm wearing a hoodie, or are you perceived that way because you're holding a gun? And we already know the PTSD from the history of that with Black men and the police. So they're songs about those kinds of things that we need to have the conversations about so we can understand each other a little bit better.
I love it. I love it. And let's
Thank you.
talk about Sacrilege for a second, because that's, again, you made a video for it. It's good. What I love about it is, I mean, I want to talk about the video, but I love because I feel like, especially Christianity in particular, but people are so afraid to, that's one of the discussions of the many that you just mentioned that people are afraid to have. But that one, especially here in America, people are like, you can talk about anything, but like, don't, you know, like, let's not upset the Christians. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to wear the smock, the priest's robe, and I'm going to tell them how it is. So like, tell me about, you know, if you don't mind, tell me about, you know, the impetus for that song and then making the video, because it is like, if you don't get it before you see the video, you're going to get it by the time this video is.
I just wanted, okay, so that's one of the songs that I figured would probably be the most controversial. Jungle might be a bit fucked up too, but
yeah, I mean, it might be.
Might be. But so Sacrilege, I mean, it's crazy to me that we have conversations all the time about oppression, but everybody's afraid to touch that. What's more oppressive than religion? You know what I mean? Like, only thing comparable to that is racism, which we talk about all the time. And okay, we need to talk about, but what about the other part? What about the fucked up shit that religion teaches us? What about the fact that religion has created so much division among us? What about the fact that religion has like kept us in oppression, like willingly, like sheep for so fucking long, but nobody wants to talk about that because, oh, you don't want to touch that. We're a religious society, we're a Christian country, we're Christian people. My grandparents are Christian, my parents are Christian. Fuck it, my mom's a preacher. I'm talking about it because I have questions, you know. Let's just dive into it. So I just dive into that head on, got me into a lot of trouble, but I'm glad we got it out there because some conversations came of it.
What more can you ask for, right?
Exactly.
Now tell me, you mentioned earlier you're just getting back into the studio, so
Hmm.
you're already working on what comes after Ignorant. What do you think you learned making Ignorant that is kind of informing what you do? Like, are you approaching this next batch of songs differently because of how you made the last album?
Hmm.
Hmm.
If I'm approaching it differently, and what have I learned?
Yeah.
Okay, so I learned a lot about myself making that record. You know, being in a position where you're always the victim screaming at the top of your lungs, like, hey, look at me, look at me. I'm a victim. I've been oppressed. I'm a woman in this industry. I've gone through like racism, colorism, classism, sexism, misogyny. I've gone through it all. And I'm always screaming and yelling at the top of my lungs, hey, look at me. I've learned based on like questions people have asked and like making this record that I'm ignorant too. A lot of people who um are the oppressors or seemingly the villains, we weren't born like that. We got there somehow. Let's examine how we got there. So it got me to think about the fact that fuck it, we're all victims of something. You know what I mean? Maybe a
Mhm.
racist person was misinformed. Maybe a sexist man, like he saw that example from his father, so he thought that was okay. You know what I mean? Maybe we're groomed that way through nurture. And
Mhm.
it made me think and empathize um, the other side too, you know. So it
Mhm.
got me to really really sit with myself and think about that, and might have changed my approach to how I approach conversations about these things, because typically I'm just quick to be infuriated and to be angry and you should fucking know better. But now I'm a little bit more calm. I'm asking questions. I'm trying to understand why do you have these perspectives, and are you willing to hear my side, and I'm willing to hear your side. Let's talk about it. Let's be respectful to each other. So it kind of opened up my mind a little bit more to that.
Mm. I love to
um
hear it.
you say, how's my approach with this new record different?
Hmm.
So for Ignorant, I wanted to create art. I wanted each song to be like a piece of art, because if you see here, I have some paintings in my background. That is to go along with my record. So I wanted to do a project that was just art, was just set apart from everything else. For this record, the songs may have a little bit more structure. It's going to be even more raw and more riveting and more emotional, because I want people to connect to my emotions, because at the end of the day, we go through all the same things, you know,
Hmm.
different ways, but all the same things. How about we just talk about it, and let me be raw, let me be completely naked, let me be completely vulnerable and connect with you. So the focus is more on that for this record.
Sounds good to me. Let me ask you
Thank you.
this: when we taking it back to Ignorant, and really all of what you're doing right now, is there a goal beyond just, like you're saying, like, let's address these things, let's talk about them. Clearly you're making your thoughts heard, and I
Mm-hmm.
assume that you want some level of response. You want to start a conversation rather than just hold
Mm-hmm.
court. But what other goals, like what do you hope comes of Ignorant, in particular because it's coming out, but in general, like when you're making music, what do you hope for as a result of putting this out into the world?
First and foremost, I just hope to make art. That's the first thing. I'm an artist. That's what I do. I make art. Secondly, sonically, what I want it to be is something that I can listen to if I live long enough to be very old and still be proud of it. I want it to be like that kind of record where it's like timeless. Um, I wanted to reach people, like I said before, but I just want to make fucking art that's true to who I am. That's first
Mm.
and foremost. So, I mean, I'm not somebody who like sit and think about, oh, this is gonna get me a Grammy or this is gonna get me on that. I'm an artist. I make art, and I want to make art that means something to me and be happy with it. And if people connect to it, that's important.
Mm. I think that that's a beautiful sentiment. Now let's talk about the painting, because people that are just hearing the audio won't be able to appreciate it. But there's a beautiful painting next to you right now. What came first, the music or the paintings?
Um, where it relates to the album.
No, in general, as far as like your interest as a creative
Oh,
person.
oh. That's a tough one. I think they came together, which is why I finally figured out how to get them to work together. I've never been able to choose between the two, decide which one I love more, um, and all of that. I remember as a kid, like equally doing both. That was how I passed time. You know, I painted, I wrote music, I draw things, I created, and they all seem to go hand in hand for me. Even now, I'm
Mhm.
painting, I'm listening to music, I'm making music, I'm seeing things visually. Like they all work together. I can't say one came before the other.
Mm. Well, I love your painting. I hope that I can
Thank
see
you.
more of them in the future.
Oh, you will. I plan to have an exhibit to go along with the record.
Good, good. It's for anyone that's not seeing it, just picture great art and whatever you're seeing. This is an example of that.
They will
Um,
see.
when you when people come up to you and ask you what you do, that's a conversation I know most artists hate because they're like, people are always like, you're trying to figure out how to sell yourself. So when people come up to you and they say, what do you do? How do you describe your art to the uninformed?
Um, when they ask me what I do in general or as it relates to
Yeah,
my
let's
art.
start with in general, but also,
Oh, in general, that okay, that could take many layers because it depends. Because if I feel as if you're asking me, what do I do for a living, in an
mm,
attempt to decide how to treat me, it could get really fucked up. There, I sell pussy. I work at Wendy's. I'm a hired escort. It could get really fucked up because if it is that we need to connect, right, and you need to decide if it's worthy what I do before you treat me with respect, or if you decide to like me, then it can get really fucked up. Might as well you don't, because I'm going to tell you some fucked up shit. But most of the times, my answer to that is I live. I
oh,
mean,
I love it.
I live. Um, I don't know. I just I hate that question, especially in this industry. You go to these events and then people who don't know who you are, they'll ask that question. But it's like the tone behind it, I just
Yeah.
don't appreciate. So I never have anything good to say to that.
No, I think you
Still
actually
don't.
have something great to say to that. That was the fantastic response. Tell me, I don't want to keep you for too long, but I want to
No, it's
know.
okay.
I want to know. We're at this weird juncture when we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a year without live music. You've clearly been busy. You're doing stuff. What do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned over the last year as an artist?
As an artist, I think the biggest lesson I've learned is how to detach myself from things and how to
Mm,
connect to myself,
mm,
how to enjoy that, how to appreciate that, and know that through all of this, the most important thing is not the tangible things, but like connections with ourselves and with each other. Um, I've learned how to be introspective without it being me beating up myself. Um, and I just learned that how to live in the moment. That's important because I'm always thinking 10 steps ahead. I'm always on the go, or I'm affected by the past. I learned how to be present. And that has helped me as a person to grow and help my art a lot too.
mm. Wonderful. Well, I think we've made it. We've done it. We've done the thing. We've had a conversation. People learned about you. We had some laughs. You gave me some great responses to questions that I asked a lot of people. So I love it. I love to see it. I got to see your art. This has been fun. We're doing well. Real quick. So records out April 23rd, Ignorant. People
Hmm.
can watch the video for Queen right now. All of your music is wherever people find music. So we don't really got to plug any of that. But tell me, you've got so much going on right this instant in April. What do you have on the horizon that you can tell us about beyond April, May, June, July, the rest of the year? What are you looking at accomplishing for the rest of the year?
As I just said, I live in the moment now. If you had asked me that before all of this, I could reel out a list to you. But right
Mhm.
now, I just want to stay present and I'm just gonna make some more art and go deeper into my art and get better at it. That's the only goal I have, and to be my best self. I cannot fucking tell you I'm going to be touring or I'm going to do any of that. We all know we can't make plans for shit right now. So I can just tell you, I am just going to be creating.
Okay, I love it. I hope that you do. I can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
what comes next. I hope everyone checks out Ignorant, and I'll be on the lookout for some more of these paintings.
Oh, you'll see them.
Okay.
You'll see it.
Thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you for having me. It was a
Yep. Have,
pleasure.
have a good
Bye.
weekend.